Welcome to Newbie Tuesday at www.rei-tv.com. I'm Nick, your host. I'm glad to be back. Today we're talking to the new guys out there and maybe give some pointers to some of you old dogs too. But more I'm concentrating on the new people. We try to do that every Tuesday. I think I owed you one. Last week, Tuesday came and went and I totally forgot, But anyway, I get a lot of emails, especially lately, and the poll that I'm doing right now, from new investors who haven't done a deal yet, who really are hungry to get into the business, but they're broke. I think that's their main comment, is I have absolutely no money to do anything with. My credit is poor. And let me tell you something. Knowledge will trump credit. It'll trump money. Well, not all the time. Money and credit are good. I can't BS you. But in any case, you don't need money and credit. I'm kind of kidding. When I first got into this business, I was $100,000 in debt. My credit wasn't terrible, actually. I was able to get finance for a mortgage, but I had no extra spendable cash. I was just a regular guy working out there and trying to make ends meet. So some of the things, first off, don't let that overwhelm you. This whole episode is trying to teach newbies to get going without needing a bunch of money and a bunch of credit. And I think it's really the mindset. If you want to do this bad enough, you're going to find a way to do it. There's tons of books out there called No Money Down and How to Buy Houses Without a Down Payment and all this other stuff. And you know what? They're not scams. They really do work. You can buy houses with no money down, but first you got to get some education, because along the way, you're going to have to talk to sellers, you're going to have to talk to buyers, you're going to have to talk to partners, you're going to have to talk to different types of people. And if you don't know what you're talking about, if you don't come off as educated, you're not going to get the deal. You're not going to be able to buy the house, no money down or anything. So the first step is get educated. So many new investors, they want everything to just fall into their lap. And I tell you what, this is a business. You want to run a business that makes you $300,000 or $400,000 a year, or that you can retire from? It's not like starting an ice cream stand, bud. You got to do some work up front. You got to get educated. Okay, so here's some tips to get rolling up front. First off, listen to the people that are teaching out there. I've got a couple of the poll responses, and one of the questions is something like, "What do you like and dislike about the industry?" And one of the answers that's come up many times is, everybody that's teaching is trying to sell me something. They all want money. Well, if someone's running a full-time business and they're going to take the time to teach you how to run that business, isn't it kind of fair that they get paid for it? Now, granted, you went to school, right? Kindergarten through whatever, you paid for that. Maybe you didn't pay if you went to a college school, but those teachers weren't volunteering their time. So have pity on those folks. I do this for nothing. I'm goofy. And at some point, like I mentioned, I'm going to start a membership, and there is going to be a paid level for people that want all kinds of stuff. You can probably imagine, if I'm giving this much for free, what you're going to get for a few bucks. But in any case, guys that teach this business, they got to make some money for their time, because it's time taking off of doing deals. So, you're in the wrong mindset if your biggest problem with the business is everybody that's teaching something is making money. I have spent thousands of dollars, I couldn't even add it up, on learning this business. I didn't spend it all first. I got into the business, started doing the deals first. Then as money came in, I invested it in my business. I have literally got 2 stacks of books and binders this high each. I've got 2 drawers full of tapes and CDs. I've got about 40 books back there, and most of them I paid for. But there are ways to get around that. That's what we're going to start talking about. So, a lot of times we talk about the easiest way to get into this business and to start making money is to be a bird dog. Do bird dog deals for other investors. And I stick by that. If you have nothing except for wanting to get into the business and the desire, you might want to bird dog for somebody first. You don't have to jump right into the fire. Start off by learning the business, working with somebody else, and learning some trips and ticks, or something like that. But you need to sound educated, like I said before you start approaching guys. If you approach investors telling them, "I want to be a bird dog for you," and they start asking you some questions about the business and you can't answer them, why do they want you representing them? So get educated first. Get educated, as I like to say. Here's a couple ways. First, watch this show. Come here every day and check. Now, we don't have a new show every day, but I'm really shooting for 4 or 5 episodes a week. I'm giving you 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes free education 4 or 5 times a week. Come here and listen. And a lot of it is geared towards you new guys. Go to Google, type real estate investor education. real estate investor training. Get on the mailing list. Almost everybody that's training, all those guys that are trying to, sell you something, almost every one of them has a mailing list. Get on the mailing list, because you know what they do? When I first started getting into this business, I was on teleseminars 3-4 nights a week. Tuesday was a teleseminar about short sales. Wednesday was a teleseminar about wholesaling. Thursday was a teleseminar about real estate investing software. And every one of them was trying to sell me something. But they give you some good education and good training for an hour or so first. They tell you all about their products, how their products works. They give you some good stuff up front first. Then the last 10 or 15 minutes is a sales pitch. I do suggest you buy some of that stuff. Don't go overboard. Some people think they're going to buy that one program that's going to change their life. That usually doesn't happen. But isn't it worth listening to the sales pitch at the end and maybe buying something occasionally if you're going to get an hour of free education up front first? Don't let negative, or I won't say negative, the wrong attitude pull the wool over your eyes. Those guys teach first, then they ask you for money. Take advantage of it. Go to Google, like I said, and you can get hours and hours and hours of education. One of the problems about listening to lots of different people, all these free things, and it's just the way it is one guy does it this way, another one does it that way, and it tends to confuse you. But if you use forums, and you get to know some people by going to REI meetings, that's the second most important thing, besides your education, is going to REI clubs and getting to meet other investors. Meet other guys that are doing this business now. If you see the same guy at one meeting to the next, say hello. Don't be shy. Talk to these people. Ask them questions. Some of them are there learning. Some of them are very experienced. So, you want to get mixed with these people. Networking is really key to this business. If it wasn't for real estate investment clubs, if it wasn't for particularly WCRT in Chicago and CCIA in Chicago, if it wasn't for those two organizations that I was a member of, and the people I met through those organizations, I would not be an investor today. I met all my contacts going to those meetings, and I got to admit, I don't go as often as I should anymore. But that was the groundwork, that was the foundation for my getting into this business and doing 13, 14 deals or whatever it was my first year. I was scared, but I was still willing to do it. But I poured myself into the business by reading everything I could find, by meeting people and asking questions, and by going to forums. Here's a little bit of BS for you. www.magicbullets.com. BS. For those of you that are new to the show, it's a bandit sign. That's why I call it BS. But a little bit of BS for you. MagicBullets.com. It's one of the best forums out there. There's a lot of good forums out there. But I'm a moderator on that forum, actually, and it's a bunch of good people. So start learning. When you have questions, go there, post your question, and you'll get some good answers. You really will start to learn the business just by reading things there and reading posts from other people, because other new investors have the same questions you do. So again, pour yourself into the business. Go to REI meetings. Go to the library. There's tons of books at the library about real estate investing. And guess what? They're free. Again, you got to educate yourself. If you've got no money to put in up front, you got to put in something else. And you got to put in the time, and you got to put in the efforts, and you got to go to these meetings and shake hands with people. Now, I also suggest you join a mastermind group, and not just any mastermind group. You should join a mastermind group that has accountability. Mastermind groups typically meet live once a month. They're small. The best ones are small, 15, 20, 25 people. And they meet once a month live. They meet once a month by phone, whatever it is. But the best ones are ones with accountability, where the leader of the group says, Joe, what did you do this past month? Mary, what did you do this past month? John, what did you do this past month? And gets people to talk about what they did. Because you know what? You're a little embarrassed if you didn't do anything. But that's going to push you. That's going to help you get into it. When I first started in this company, I was posting on a forum. And I was a brand new investor. And in my signature on the forum, whatever anybody could post, what I would put at the end of the post is Nick Sifoni, speaker at next year's convention. I didn't know anything about the business, but I put on every post, Nick Sifoni, speaker at next year's convention. Darn it, if my second year in the business, that next year, I wasn't standing on that stage speaking and teaching other people this business. I committed myself. I burnt my bridges, and I suggest you do the same. Tell people I'm a real estate investor, Because you know what? In 3 months, you're going to meet that same guy. Hey, how's the real estate going? You're going to be a little embarrassed if you didn't follow through. Write your goals down. I know it sounds cliche. Everybody tells you, set your goals, write them down. But why do people tell you that? Because they're usually successful folks and they know that it works. Write down what you want to achieve. After you get educated, then you can talk lingo. You know the business. When you go to these REI meetings, you could ask other investors, do you know any private lenders? If you know somebody with money or good credit, hey, I'm getting into real estate. You want to partner with me on a deal and let me use your credit to fund one of my deals. Again, though, if you don't ask, you're not going to receive. That's the way this business works. That's the way any business works. You have to be a little bit aggressive. So find credit partners. Partner with other investors. My first deal after that bird dog deal that most of you know about, my first deal was with another brand new investor. He had a deal, but no money to rehab it. I had some credit, so I got the money to do. He bought the house. His credit bought the house, but he was broke. He had nothing left. So I used my credit cards to fund the rehab on that house. We fixed the house. We sold the house, and we made about $30,000 between us that we split 50-50. Neither one of us knew what we were doing, but he had something that I didn't. I had something that he didn't. We met at a real estate club. And it's been smooth. I won't say smooth sailing ever since, but it's been a great ride ever since. You know, it gets a little bit rocky. This isn't the easiest business in the world. When you read or you hear one of the gurus or educators tell you that, oh, it's easy. You just follow my steps and become a millionaire. That's not true. You follow the steps. You solve a lot of problems. You kick yourself in the pants. You make changes. You adapt. Then you make $1 million. But you got to have the education first. So go to the library, read the forums, get educated, get out there and meet some people, and you'll find yourself slowly becoming successful. If you set your goals, if you've committed yourself to hitting those goals. So you don't need a lot of money. If you have money, that's great. Buy some programs, listen to them, get out there and make some offers. If you don't, like I said before, get out there, meet people, get educated, talk so you sound like you know what you're doing, so people will want to partner with you, and you'll find the partners that you need to become successful in this business. That's it for today, Newbie Tuesday. This Friday, the 18th at flippin' midnight, we're gonna talk live. It's going to be the first and third Friday of every month in the future at flippin' midnight Eastern Time. We're going to get online. You're going to be able to see me live. I'm going to talk. You're going to ask questions, and we're going to have a good time. It's going to be kind of relaxed. We're not going to have any big agendas. It's just a time for me to answer some questions and get to know you and let you get to know me. So it starts this Friday, flip at midnight Eastern Time. Come to the website, rei-tv.com, and I'll be there. You'll get the information. Until next time, have a great week. Now go do something instead of worrying.